Creating a form using the rich text editor. Today we will be creating a simple table with a few survey questions. We can access the HTML editor by going inside of any element that will contain HTML and clicking on the button labeled HTML Editor. This will bring up our editor in a new window. We will be creating a simple 5-question survey. To start, we'll want to make sure that we use the Form tool to place form tags around our page. Let's click on the form icon. There is only one option available from the form properties screen. Let's leave the option for post under Method selected and click OK. We should now see a red dotted box representing the form we just created. All of the work we do from here on out should be inside of this form container. Drop your cursor inside of the form and click on the table icon, which is the 4th button from the left in the middle row. In the new dialog box, we'll give some specifications on how our table should appear. I'll want to make this table 7 rows and 2 columns. This will give us enough rows for a header, all 5 of the questions we'll be creating, and a submit button at the bottom. The 2 columns will be used for the question text and the input fields. When we click OK, our table will be displayed in the editor. The first thing I'll want to do is make the top row my header row. We will do this by right-clicking inside of the top left-hand cell and navigating over the option labeled Cell Properties. We'll select the option labeled Merge Right to remove the column break and make this a single column row. I'll now place the text Survey inside of this cell and center the text. We'll do the same thing at the bottom. This is where we'll later place our Submit button. We'll be creating 5 different question types. We'll start by asking for an email in question 1. I'll type in email in the left-hand column and set my cursor inside the second row's right-hand column. We'll now click on the input icon in the middle row. This should give us a few different options. I'll give this the name email. The value can be used to display pre-populated text or pre-populate variable information using a system variable, such as #email #. The name you provide will determine which field this information writes back to. So if you wish to write to a set studio field, you must make sure you are using the correct naming convention. Once we click OK, the field should be included on the right-hand column. For question 2, we'll be using checkboxes. In column 1, row 3, we'll insert the question text. Check all that apply. Now, set the cursor in the next column over and click on the checkbox icon in the middle row. We'll be creating 3 different options. In order for them to be linked to the same question, these must all have the same name. The name I'll be using will be Q2, since this is question 2. The value is what will be written to reporting when this box is checked. I'll insert option 1 here. If you want this checkbox to be pre-selected, check the box labeled Selected. Once we click OK, we will see the box dropped into our table cell. I'll put text to the right-hand side of the checkbox to represent this option and repeat the steps for the next 2 checkboxes. Remember to give all related checkboxes the same name. This is important when comparing responses and looking at our reporting. Question 3 is going to use the radio button option. The difference between radio buttons and checkboxes is that checkboxes allow for the user to select multiple options, and radios only allow for a single selection. In column 1, row 4, we'll insert the question text. Rate us on a scale of 1 to 5. Now set the cursor in the next column over and click on the radio button icon in the middle row. We'll be creating 5 different options. In order for them to be linked to the same question, they must all have the same name. The name I'll be using will be Q3. The value is what will be written to reporting when this radio is selected. I'll insert 1. If you want this radio option to be pre-selected, check the box labeled Selected. Once we click OK, we will see the radio button dropped into our table cell. I'll put text to the right-hand side to represent this option and repeat these steps for the next 4 radio options. For question 4, we will be using a selection field, commonly known as a pull-down or drop-down menu. We'll be asking the question, will you be attending our event? Now, set the cursor in the next column over and click on the selection icon in the middle row. In the new screen, we'll name this field Attending. We'll be adding 3 different choices. The first will be Yes. We'll type Yes into the text as well as the value field and then click the Add button. We'll do the same thing for the next 2 options, Maybe and No. Once completed, click OK. You will now see the selection field on your page. Question 5 will be an open-ended question asking for any additional comments. We'll set our cursor on the right-hand side and click the text area icon on the middle toolbar. In the text area properties screen, I'll assign this field the name Comments. Leave the other options empty and click OK. We should now see the text area on the page. The last thing we'll need to do is add in our Submit button. I'll place my cursor in the bottom row and click on the button icon in the middle row. In the button properties screen, we'll type Submit in both the name and the text or value field. We'll leave the type set as Submit and then click OK. And that should do it. Remember to click the Save button in the top right-hand corner in order to save all your changes into your email or page.